Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, ma ba'd. My brothers and sisters, there is no doubt that we are living in a time of fitna and corruption. And it could even arguably be said that the fitna and the corruption is getting worse and is unprecedented. We have never seen the world in this manner of fitna and corruption so widespread. And in actual fact, the Jahiliyyah of the people of Jahiliyyah has become intolerable. There are people who are in Jahiliyyah right now who are far away from Islam. They are not Muslim. But they are fed up within their own Jahiliyyah that their own societies have. And they are trying to call out the Jahiliyyah that they themselves have, despite the fact that they are in Jahiliyyah themselves. Therefore, we have those people who are in extreme Jahiliyyah, and then we have people who are within the midst of Jahiliyyah, and all of them are looking for an answer. But as Muslims, walillahi alhamd, we can be proud that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be grateful to Him that He has sent us the final revelation, the religion of perfection, the religion of liberation, the religion of attaining Allah's pleasure and His akhirah. But this is not enough. We need to then understand it the way that the Salaf understood it and implement it the way that the Salaf had implemented it. Otherwise, it could be a proof for us or against us. Otherwise, we might not find any rectification in our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. If you believed like those who came before you who were guided had believed, then you yourself will believe and be guided like they were guided. Therefore, there is a precedence that we need to follow. Imam Malik said, and others before him, rahimahullah, لَن يُسْلِحْ آخِرْ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ. The final generations, the latter times of this ummah will never be rectified إِلَّا مَا أَصْلَحَ أَوَّلَهَا, except for what? Rectified and was a form of bringing about goodness that the Salaf from before us had understood and implemented themselves. Therefore, in today's message, we have an incident of a person overcoming financial oppression, political oppression, social injustices. And we can see from his response how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his ikhlas, through his niyyah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted from him and rose him above all of those injustices. The incident goes like this. There is a famous tabi'i known as Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Now, Ata, rahimahullah, was one of the ulama of Mecca, to the extent that when the names of Ibn Abbas or Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma was mentioned, because they were the ulama of Mecca, when their names were mentioned and ilm was going to be sought from them, the name of Ata ibn Abi Rabah was also alongside those two illustrious companions. Therefore, Ata rahimahullah had a position. He was respected by the government and the rulers as well. And there was a woman from the people of Mecca who had a child. But that child was seen as insignificant. He was low in society. كان عبدا أسود اللون, his description from Abu Ishaq, where he says, rahimahullah, that, and now he's narrating the story to us about Ata. Abu Ishaq rahimahullah said that he had a servant, أسود اللون وكان أنفه كأنه باقلة, that he was dark in complexion and his nose was severely disfigured. Now, because Ata rahimahullah had a high status in society, he used to be visited by all sorts of people. Companions used to visit him, and the rulers used to visit him. So Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik, who is Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik? He was the ruler, Amir al-Mu'mineen at that time. He was from the Umayyad dynasty. He was one of the rulers that came after Muawiyah and Yazid, and he was from their lineage, rahimahullah. So on one occasion, Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik visited Ata with his two sons. And they visited Ata. And Ata, rahimahullah, was praying at that time. He was praying Nawafil at that time. And they were sitting there waiting for him to finish. And when he finished, they started asking Ata some of the ahkam of Hajj. This is what I was saying before. Ata, rahimahullah, he was one of the ulama of Makkah, and people used to visit him. Just like they used to ask Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma questions about Hajj, they used to ask Ata the same. This is the level of Ata, rahimahullah. And Ata, rahimahullah, allowed this young man, his servant, to answer the questions. When all the questions were over and the session was over, Sulaiman stood up with his children and he said, Quma, and he told them to stand up. And he said to them, Ya bunay, la taniya fi talab al-ilm. Do not become relaxed, do not become bored, do not become negligent in seeking knowledge. فإني لا أنسى ذلنا بين يدي هذا العبد الأسود. Because I will never forget our lowliness, our inferiority over this black servant that was there with Ata. The ruler at that time, rahimahullah, Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik, who was a scholar in his own right. He narrated a hadith, etc. But he said to his children, look how lowly we have become. Look how we have, we have been superseded because of ilm, because of somebody who is not even looked at in society, not even given any attention to in society. Remember, we said that this narration was being described by Abu Ishaq. Abu Ishaq goes on to mention, now this has been mentioned in Faqih wal-Mutafaqih by Khatib Baghdadi rahimahullah, but you will also find this in Tarikh Dimishq of Ibn Asakir and other books of history. Abu Ishaq rahimahullah, he said that this young man, this servant who was dark in complexion, he was black and his face doesn't look very good, he gives an added description. He said that his shoulders were protruding out of his from his body, from his torso, in an abnormal manner. It looked like he was his body was disfigured. Not only was his face disfigured, but his body was disfigured. So his mother said to him at an early age, Ya bunay, la takum fi qawm. Do not mix with people. Do not mix with people. Illa kuntam al-madhuk minhu. Al-maskhur bih. Except that when you go out in society, people will mock you. When you go out in society, you will be the subject of insults. What was his advice that he received from his mum? What was the tarbiyah that she gave to her child? Excuse me. She said, فَعَلَيْكَ بِطَلَبِ الْعِلْمِ فَإِنَّهُ يَرْفَعَكَ. It is upon you to seek knowledge, because this is what will make you excel. So Abu Ishaq said this was the advice that he received from his mum. فَطَلَبَ الْعِلْمِ. Then he listened to what his mum told him to do, and he sought knowledge. What happened to this young man? فَوُلِّيَ قَضَى مَكَّةَ 20 سَنَةً. He became the Qadi of Makkah for 20 years. Abu Ishaq rahimahullah said, previously he was mocked, previously he was not seen as anything significant. Now people are coming to him asking for advice. Now people are coming to him asking for judgment, and he was now in charge of people and the judgment surrounding their cases. This young man, rahimahullah, was Muhammad ibn Abdur-Rahman al-Awqas, rahimahullah. Also from the description of Sheikh Muhammad was that he didn't have much of a neck. So not only was his face disfigured, his shoulders were protruding, his head was described as being sunk into his torso. He didn't appear to have a neck. You can clearly now get an image of what this man looked like. I mean, he was dark in complexion, again, at that time, and as we can see today in the Jahiliyyah that we live in, is, that is seen as second class because of the colour of your skin. But then also his face didn't look very good. It wasn't very attractive. Again, we're living in a society where it's all about superficial attraction. And his body wasn't muscular and toned. He had the complete opposite. But now his neck was sunk into his body as well. One time a woman walked past him and he was supplicating to Allah, Allahumma a'tik raqabati min an-nar, Allahumma a'tik raqabati min an-nar. Oh Allah, free my neck from the hellfire. And this is some of the narrations which say that this is a supplication that a person can make. Oh Allah, free my neck from the hellfire. Why the neck? Because sometimes people will be pulled into the hellfire because of chains that are surrounding their necks, like collarbones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Yasin and other places in the Quran. So he is supplicating, oh Allah, free that chaining around my neck. Allahumma a'tik raqabati min an-nar. This woman said to him, Ya ibn akhi, O the son of my brother, O my nephew, wa ayyu raqabatik lak, wa ayyu raqabatik lak. What neck do you have for you to be freed? Now you can see the double meaning here, meaning you don't have a neck, how are you going to be freed? But this is actually a praise for him, rahimahullah, that you have nothing to worry about, insha'Allah, with Allah. This is some of the incidents that occurred in the life of Muhammad ibn Abdur-Rahman al-Awqas, rahimahullah. And what we learn is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke the truth. Allah says, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will only accept from the people of taqwa. And Allah says in another place in the Quran, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah will never let any good deed go to waste from the people of ihsan, the people who do good deeds. Imam al-Sa'di rahimahullah in the tafsir of this ayah said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept from the people of ihsan their actions, and He will reward them because of the goodness that they used to do, and He will give them what they sought after, and Allah will multiply for them their rewards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdur-Rahman al-Awqas when he was debased by the rest of creation, but what seemed to matter the most to him was what his creator thought of him, and with that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him excel. There are so many things that we can learn from this incident, but from the biggest of them is ihsan with Allah and the creation, and taqwa in Allah, and having that taqwa with the creation can only come about with ilm. So once we seek ilm and we practice this religion and we see improvements in our lives, bi'idhnillah, you can bring about change to yourself, and you can bring about change to those people around you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawfiq and success, and that He allows us to listen and understand and to ponder and follow that with the best of following. هذا والله أعلم وصلى اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.